All right, let's do this. All right, guys. So I wanted to make this video um, mainly because it's my birthday and I'm going to be putting some predictions out, update on where things are at with market, um, my finances, business, life, future, things on my mind, the whole 9 yards. All right, so let's get into it. Let's see. First of all, the market section will be very short. As I mentioned in my last video, that um, like explaining why I left crypto after losing my net worth 3 times, in summary, basically. And then more importantly, looking at the long term of like, where does this lead to, right? Like, even if I was to catch the next run and et cetera, et cetera, which is kind of be a little bit contrary to what I'm speaking today, because actually one of my things today is telling that there's right now about to come up, a big run based on everything that I follow and things I look at. This is, basically inevitable at this point, the way I see it. But that being said, it does not change the fact that I'm not going to get back into crypto, right? Which is really the test. When I thought about it, right? It's like I could say I'm not gonna come back to crypto. Let's say some time ago when things are looking bad. But when what how do you feel when things are looking good and you're like starting to get that feeling again? Like, oh my god, I could like 5, 10x my money over the next 6 months. Am I gonna really try to do everything else we're doing, or do this, right? And this is really the test. Now, with that being said, just to clarify, because I know some people go by different definitions of this. To me, Bitcoin is not crypto, right? I still have Bitcoin. That's why I sold everything and I hold some Bitcoin. So Bitcoin, I feel like to me is Bitcoin. That's it. Crypto, I'm talking about. I mean, I guess you could say altcoins, but really, I'm the ethos of crypto. I mean, there's like a few layers to it, right? Without in the long term, tech side, which we all try to give explanations for. Crypto is the short term moves that we're all here for, right? Anything where you feel like, how am I gonna 3x my money or in the next 90 days, stuff like that. That's like crypto. That's the stuff that I'm not gonna come back to. Okay, so I guess that's it. That's the market part. No, I'm just kidding. That's me just giving some summary of like last time what I said, and when I left, right? And last note on leaving part, which I covered in the last video in detail, but it was mainly looking at the long term, right? I don't think being in a position where constantly looking at cycles in any industry, right, crypto or anything else, where there's you're basing your entire what you do based on these cycles is the best way to live or even make money, to be honest. One of the favorite things since I got into, like, I made my first dollar, right? One of the first client I got, they paid me $100 per month. It was a florist, but the first proper client that I got that paid my bills was 1,800. Since that moment, the energy I felt from entrepreneurship was very pure. I remember I used to like love, even like, I had to take a flight one time, the first time I flew somewhere, and coming back after I made my first dollar, it had completely changed my experience of how I view myself and how I look in the future. I would write down on the plane like all these exciting ideas that I want to try and what could work and rebuttals and this sales could work better and whatnot. And quite honestly, crypto took that from me permanently. It never recovered. I hope it comes back in some way, shape, or form. As I now not in crypto, but not to make it sound all gloom, but once you got to see and realize that there's people walking around amongst us casually that has $50 million, $100 million. Normally we know them conceptually. Oh yeah, people make a lot of money, but you don't know who they are, what they do, what they're like. But once you follow some people and you see how they think, what they say, many things they're just a normal being, but they just happen to make a few moves and make so much more than you are worth. It kind of breaks your fragment of reality and how you see your role and like how you are rewarded and all these kind of things, right? So getting back in business, and most of us are not like Alex Becker and shit, right? We're like just normal entry level people trying to make something. Getting back in business is very hard. I've been struggling a lot with motivation, and it's not historically something that I struggle with. I would not, I'm not a lazy person. So even now, when things are tough, I have some issues with motivation, and it's a lot to do with just how much easier it was to make money in the last cycle. It just never recovered fully. And I don't want to take too much time on this. Let me check. How many minutes has it been? It's already 6 minutes. So let's get past this topic. I'll just leave it there. So if you are in this kind of position, I will report back when things start to feel better. But I think it desensitizes you, right, to like small wins. As a small business, getting something to work, getting a new form of customers, getting customers who see the value and now they're paying more. There's so many little wins that you need to feel like you're doing something good, you're progressing. So if the measuring tape is like, goes from like, it just zooms out, right? Where it's like used to have like a measuring tape that's like, let's say a meter or something like that. And now you like see so much of the wealth in the world in a small area where there was only like 500,000 wallets or something in 2021. It allows you to zoom out and see a measuring stick that's like, much like where your body size is here and the stick is like, the Empire State Building, right? And again, I really want to double down on this. It's not like we don't know there's people who are wealthier in the world, right? Oh yeah, we know there's a lot of wealthy people. There's like, Warren Buffett and all this shit, but we don't really know them. And actually human mind can't comprehend it. You just know that as a statement. Oh yeah, billions of dollars. That's it. But it's very, very different. And I guess if you're watching this, you know this already because you're in crypto. It's very different compared to a normal person when you get to see this amongst us, right? Imagine like you having friends that like, that you went to school with and stuff. And then you all went to a similar country or now started your jobs and stuff. But all of them are like vastly worth more than you. How do you really feel? You kind of feel worthless, right? So there's my little thing on crypto. And I think it is something that's very damaging. Now, it's a check and balance, obviously, right? If you're really good at this shit, if you're one of those people that are very smart, intelligent, you can see trends before they emerge. You can see things before most people even hear about it. Like you can really not just see what's going to come, but capitalize and monetize on it. That second part is a big one. Many people can see what's coming, right? I can blur you some things that's going to future, and I'm going to in this video, right? I think this is going to happen, this is going to happen. But am I going to get sickeningly wealthy from it? Well, no, probably not, right? Because that second part needs a much higher level of intelligence. If you're in that position, then obviously you just do you, right? You just extract immense amounts of value because you're due to it, right? No matter what anybody says, it's yours. You're due to it. You're smarter. You're doing the execution. Whatever anybody says, I could sit down and say that's not hard work, whatever. Who the fuck cares? You're getting it. But for the rest of us who don't get it, and can't really make money like that cycle after cycle, then is one of the biggest reasons why I think it's not that healthy to be in this long term, where I think you should be much more attached to the reality of just serving people. in some shape or form. That's all there is, right? It's like finding a service that other people like and want and doing it for them that they will pay money for because it brings value to them. Whatever that looks like, usually it's going to be in a form of a business, but even at work, it's the same shit. It's another vehicle that's doing the same thing, but you're a part of a team that's doing it as opposed to you trying to come up with the ideas that's going to do it, right? All right, so that's kind of summarizes my stance on last time. Now, having that said, where do I think the market's going from here? So I've said this before, and I think it sounds like a joke, but I'm actually very serious. I think my birthday is the turning point for the crypto industry. Like, it's funny, but that's the date. It's just look back October 20th and see the influctions in the market. Just look at Bitcoin's chart for the last, like, I don't know, whatever, 5 years, and look at how much things change around this time. So far, market's been stagnant, and recently, multiple very good traders have said that it's going to be going up. But regardless of that, this is the transition point, right? Bitcoin's between 60, 70K right now. I think when I checked this before the video, it was like 67 or 68K, whatever. This thing's going to 100K. This is what's up, right? Trump wins this election. This thing's going to make a God candle. We're going to see a 10K candle out of nowhere from like low 70s into the fucking 80s. And it's just going to, this fucking thing's going to roar. This is what I think is going to happen. And it's going to be fucking good. It's going to be ballistic. People are going to be euphoric as fuck again. It's going to be fun place. Twitter's going to be live again. Right now, I don't know how everybody else's Twitter is, but my Twitter is basically all politics. I basically became that type of person that I thought other people, like I used to laugh at. Like, I'm like, how are these people actually blaming whoever runs the country for their lack of work ethic? Like, this was the idea before. Now I literally became that person. I'm like, I don't know how much of my future I'm basing on it, but I would say, like, it's kind of embarrassing to admit, at least 30-40% of my life and my future, I am basing it on this election. And I'm going to break it down in this video, why I'm so strongly on it. But it's kind of crazy when you become that. I guess it comes with being 30s, right? So yeah, that's the market. Not a big part to it. I am mainly focusing on my business and about to launch a new sales routine and everything. But that's, I think, all there is, right? Like, if there was one coin, if you told me, like, that I would put money on, it would be Tau. And I don't hold any. I just think, based on what I've seen, that there's like a 10-20% chance maybe for Tau to become something like Bitcoin, but for the AI sector. And now let me be careful how I use my words, because as I said, Bitcoin to me is separate than crypto. They're two different things, right? I think Bitcoin is basically the safest store of value in the world right now, and the world has ever seen, basically. It's a store of value. It's not a currency, it's not something to spend, it's not that. But if you have more money than you need to pay your bills, right? And you have more money than after a year, and you have whatever you need to live for a year, or your business to survive for a year, which I don't right now, then, in my opinion, Bitcoin is the safest place to store that money. Next after that, I think, is the US Treasuries. So if you ask me, like, wait, Shib, are you saying that the chance of Bitcoin going to zero is less than the US going bankrupt and losing the dollar as a thing? I would say yes. And if you believe that, then you are also in the same boat as me. If you don't, then that's it. Like, I don't think most people believe that who's outside of crypto, but that's Bitcoin. It's just store of value. Now, having that said, within crypto, place to make insane returns. My if I had to put one, it would be Tau. After that, it's a coin flip, man. There's probably split the money in the newest, shiniest L1s. Near, Sui, Say, just split amongst L1s to be relatively safe. I don't think L1s are even near their explosive growth levels. People make it sound like you gotta get the video games. Becker based his entire crypto thing on video games. Which video games fucking took off? Becker is one of the most capable people I know. He's one of my, not one of, if there's one person in entrepreneurship that I give the most props to and basically worship, let's just be frank here, it is Becker. And this is not in crypto. I know Becker mostly outside of crypto and before crypto. He came into this space, which was like, what the fuck? Why is he even getting in this? Anyways, but the guy doesn't know how to trade for shit. It's kind of insane. This is why it's a good sign for me to even not do this anymore. I'm like, dude, look, this guy who literally bends time and space. To my view, he's the best entrepreneur ever, right? Because I'm not talking about gods here. I'm not talking about Elon Musk, people who are next generation of human beings. He has the newer upgrade, right? He's from the 2100s. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about normal people. And within normal people, I think Becker is the best entrepreneur in our lifetime amongst normal people. So when this motherfucker is so bad at trading and basically gets everything wrong, then why are normal people trying it all the time, right? Anyways, not to go down that road, where I kind of completely lost my train of thought. L1s are much safer than any video game coins, AI coins, any of that shit, meme coins. Meme coins, they just won the entire space for so long. I don't even know what to say anymore, but I think they're probably on their way to... Let me do this so I can sit back a bit. Okay, meme coins are on their way to basically, I think probably keep doing well if I had to guess, right? So if you're in that space, I would only be in that space. But that's you understand you're in the further spectrum of risk, right? You're in Solana, in the weeds, and choosing a certain meme coin is gonna go into. Seriously, how much of your net worth can you put in that? Right now, this is all, I think figures matter here, right? If you're under 100K, I guess you could say cash-wise, that's where I fall into right now, then you could go into these things. I guess you could make the case, right? If you're look, I'm 20 years old. I know I'm a hustler. I'm going to work hard in this bitch. I'm not going to be a lazy dumbass in society. But I think this is an opportunity right now. And I got 10K. I got 30K. I got 50K. And I'm going to make this money back no matter what it takes. And I'm going to be really risky with it right now. Go for it. That's my opinion. No financial advice. Right? But if you have more money, if you have $1 million to $5 million in the bank, are you going to put that kind of money in meme coins? Fuck no. That would be borderline retarded, right? But we do this. Everybody many people who had millions in 2021 did this shit. Maybe not in meme coins specifically, but the same level of risk, right? I put all my money in that shit. So L1s would be the way I would play it if there was anything else. I would just have a few L1s that I put percentage on, and then that's it. Now, what percentage of your total money is going to base on how much money you have in total and how much you're willing to put at risk to make the type of returns you want to make. You see, everybody's risk tolerance is so different. I'll bring Becker again to finish this point. See, Becker has $100 million over that right now at this point. Most of the time I've been following him, he didn't have that much money. He was always pretty wealthy. Even I started following him in like 2016. The guy was making a couple $100,000 per month. Even during those times, he was like really good most of his career at entrepreneurship. But many people in his position with $100 million would not be taking that kind of risk. Now, he's saying he's putting 10%. I don't think that's true. Just knowing him as a person, I don't think that's true. I think he's putting more. I would say he's putting 10 to 20%, maybe max 30. I don't think he's putting more than 30, but let's say 10, 20%. He's putting in gaming. But mind you, most of his net worth is in dealerships, or however you want to call the term. But basically, it's like, I will be an advisor, or I will get certain percentage of the protocol or tokens for giving you shout outs. He's using his influence to get really, really good deals. It's just the way it works. If you hate that, then go fucking get it. Make a name for yourself. There's nothing else to complain. I don't know why people make such a big fuss. Oh my God, they're just shilling shit. Okay, they have a space. They can say what they want, right? I mean, some people should go to jail, I think, if they ever did a check. But I'm just saying, they built that space. If you hate that, if you want to have change, then go build your voice. I just really look at it with realism and it is for what it is. He is somebody who has $100 million and he feels awful. He can't. Trust me when I say this. I know Becker very, very well. I've followed him. Like, sometimes I have to. I answer myself with his voice. Like, this is like, I don't want to get too crazy about this, but like, I'm just being honest here. Like, I've read and heard so much of his mental frame of the world, whether through videos or audios or courses or written, that I know how he thinks. He feels uncomfortable in his body with his current net worth. So he still puts a lot of risk because he believes with every ounce of his being that he should have billions of dollars. And rightfully so. I believe that too for him. I kind of honestly get scared sometimes that he has $100 million because I'm like, fuck, man, I want like 10. This guy has 100. That's only 10x more than what I want. I feel like he's 100 or a couple hundred times more valuable than me. The fact that my goal is to be 1/10 of him is kind of scary to me because I'm like, if that guy is only 100, then fuck, it's very good chance I'll never reach 10. Anyways, where are we at? Let me check the time. Oh, fuck, holy shit. Man, I can really ramble. Okay, 20 minutes. So I gave you some, what is it? Covered some market. L1s is the way to go. Gave some thoughts on Becker and shit, and how to think about net worth and whatnot, and start the video summarizing with why I left crypto. Okay, cool. So that covers crypto and the market. Let's do a little chapter about my business. Okay. I'm at a point now where I just like, it's kind of crazy. I'm like laughing at it. Like, I'm like used to not making money at this point, almost to the point where I'm just like, man, fuck, we don't have any money. And it's like kind of funny, slightly, which is kind of crazy because it was stressing me the hell out not too long ago. I was having like low-key nightmares. I was actually really getting afraid at one point because what happened was I moved some money not too long ago to get some to put some money to get some interest, and I didn't really properly see how much I owed in my credit cards for the business, and I got hit with 40K that I owe the credit card company, and I didn't have 40K in my account, so the check bounced, or like the transfer didn't go through, which was supposed to, like, normally it's an automatic transfer. I put it for whatever I owe, the card just takes it out of my bank. So I had to move the money back, like, and basically get them to take the transaction. It kind of really messed me up because Amex now lowered my. Normally, it gave me like unlimited. I don't know, whatever my. They just don't give you a limit. They're like, hey, whatever your business is using, we'll let you use it. 1 second, let me see something. Let me make sure I'm not doing this weird. Okay, whatever, we're gonna let you use it. And then all of a sudden, what happened was they put it down to 20K. So now every time I spend 20K on the business, I gotta pay off my card, which is gonna be a little bit tougher. But it's not as tough as the position I was in, like literally right before the hurricane in Florida. So what happened was, long story short, I was really getting very afraid that we're basically about to go bankrupt, to put it short. Like I owe money to credit card companies that I don't have that money in my bank. So it came down to that point. I thought I have till like March or April next year, but it just happened because it's extremely unpredictable. The clients that we have right now, some of them are almost paying no money because they're on performance. And it is so much more hard. I don't think people like, I didn't really realize clearly. If I did, I don't think I would have started this model, the way I did. But going all in this model and waiting so long, 6 months, 8 months, 1 year before the clients that you bring on today is going to start paying money, but you got to do all that work with dedicated teams for months and months and like quarters and quarters. I didn't really properly financially plan it. And then when I got hit, it almost like kind of took me out. What saved me, and this is like gonna sound messed up because obviously nobody wants to make money like this. The hurricane hit in Florida. We have some clients in Florida, and one of our clients made $500,000 in like 3 weeks. It bailed me out. Normally I get paid historically $2,000 per month per client. This is how the price point we serve SEO at. This client paid us 30 grand because of the hurricane. And since we're by performance, their phone just blew up. Literally, like we got on the call and I was like, holy shit, like they owe us so much money. Can we charge their card for this? All they was talking about to me is like, help me get salespeople because there's like basically money falling out of the sky. If you're in construction and you're a roofer or something like that, and everybody's roofs just got fucking trashed in the entire area you live in, it's not that hard to make money, right? You just basically make your payday. And this client in particular is, I think honestly the guy just retired from this one event, and for my case, it just bailed me out and gave me some cash flow so I can keep the business going. Now it's just like we told the team, like, guys, we need to prepare for winter. We don't know what's going to happen. Roofing season slows down. So winter is yet to be seen. And I am afraid about it. December, January, it's cold. People can't do roofs. People can't do roofs because leads don't come in. People don't look for roofers during the winter because it's cold and frozen. And if they don't get leads, we don't get paid. So that's going to be another thing I gotta, somehow survive. And I have a few plans to bring in some cash in the short term and still keep the model going. So I said last video that I'm going to make a decision soon before the end of this year. If I'm going to keep doing this model, I'll just I give it a fair shot. Let's cut it quits, go back to my old model. And my decision is to stick to this model. And here's why. The reason I got into this model, and I explained this like last video or something, so I'm not going to explain it too much right now, is actually an emotional decision. And I labeled it like that purposely because I want to be clear what I'm doing, because I kept on justifying it in all these ways that this is a logical thing, but I have to be truthful. And because if I'm hiring coaches to tell me what, like how good of a deal this is and stuff like that, and they're all kind of like aligning and saying that like, it doesn't make sense why you're changing your model. Like just get more clients, go more sales, figure out your ability to hire more people and do those things. But if I then still keep saying that this is the better model because of some number thing, then I'm kind of lying to myself. So in the end, I had to just confront it and be like, this is an emotional decision, right? I don't want to fucking run a business that's over 50% of the energy is going on customer service. I just personally don't want to do that shit. I don't want to have to live most of my time or my team's time in convincing you why you should pay us and showing you the reasons why you should pay us. I just want to be in a position where you just pay us because we are fucking good at what we do. Right? Currently, we are at an 8x. We're pushing with everything we got to get to a 10x. Now, this is projections, right? So mind you, this is not like there yet. This is projection to be 8x based on client base we have. We're pushing to be a 10x, meaning it's going to be a very simple sales pitch. For every $10 we make you, you give us $1. And I know this is like hyperbole or something because people say this, like, if you spend $1, get $2 back. But this is literally what we're doing. I'm like this. That's not the figure. That's not an example. That's the exact figure. On average, we want, let's say, 8 to 12x in that range, right? You pay us $2,000 per month, you will make $20,000 per month. This is what we're trying to get to, and that statement, even when I just say it, even in a video setting like this, it gives me so much excitement that I just want to have it. I'm like, fuck, man, it would be so good to be in a model where we have a small team who's just so good at doing this one little thing that we found and we spent time on and got good at. Then when we serve that to the market just happily pays for it because we simply beat everybody else at it. There's just no better deal. Nobody's going to be willing to get you that quality with that kind of return with that little risk. In this case, basically no risk, right? Like or close to no risk. The only risk is there's time involved that you got to talk to us sometime and stuff like that, all that stuff, right? It's like, but you're not paying us hoping it'll work. You're paying us as it works. It means enough to me that I'm going to go all in. Again, I did most of this year and I learned the ropes, but 2025 is when I'm going to go all in. And here's where, let's make it, I keep checking the time, guys, because I have to switch the screen. Let me prepare for this part. As you get older, you can look back and see certain versions of yourself. And the version of myself that was in high school is very different than the version of myself that was when I was in, just starting the business, like in 2018. And in my adult life, the most proud of that I've been of myself is 2018, is actually the year I started. Because that year, the clients that I sold, I think it's like 40% of the money we make to this day, clients that I sold in 2018. In some ways, that's a little bit embarrassing. In some ways, that's something to be proud of. Proud of because I worked so hard that year that it laid the foundation for me to be able to run some kind of business all this time. Even though I was sick and literally dying, actually came close to death twice in 2022, as I mentioned before. And a lot of the reasons why things financially kept going is because of 2018. My goal is to make 2025 where I don't look at 2018 anymore as the last year or the most recent year to be proud of. I want to make 2025 that benchmark, which basically in another way of saying is I'm going to bring a version of myself back that was way more ruthless with work ethic. I feel like no matter how much I say, all these things I do, I still am so not consistent. I can blame health because for 2021, 2022, especially those 2 years, a lot of 2020 as well, I was bedridden, right? Even in the bull market in 2021, a lot of it I was bedridden. I actually had a projector that was on the wall, and because I couldn't, I just had to lay in bed, and I would scroll all day on Twitter, and that's how I spent a lot of my time being in the crypto space in 2021. I was like not dying like 2022, but I was bedridden. Like, if I needed a glass of water, somebody had to bring it to me. Anyways. 2018 laid the foundation for the last 5 years. And since 2018, it's just been kind of coasting. Even this year, since I made the video about me getting out of crypto, I have been working harder. So it's looking a lot better. But I have a calendar in my bedroom. It's the only calendar I have, right? And it's only has weeks. And I love this thing because I came up with it and it works really well. It only has weeks and it's not a day to day, right? So the one view is 6 months. Each block is a week. And I just put an X on the weeks that I worked well and the weeks that I didn't work well. And I know this is going to be vague because only you can answer that. Oh. The pillow threw me off. Only you can answer that, but basically it's like weeks where I actually thought through things, put in effort, versus just passively being available for the team to answer questions and stuff, and maybe do some small little things, right? Believe it or not, a lot of business is just like us going by like that. Beginning, we work very hard, and then after you get somewhat of a team, many times I think it's very easy, even for people who say they work hard and even people who are normally working hard, to become just like doing busy work where you're just like answering some questions, going to some meetings, and it feels like you're doing work. But when you look back, it's just like, what did you actually accomplish? What's the impact that was laid from the last month of you working? Like if you weren't there, right? So long story short, I'm going to bring back this version of 2018, and I think it's going to provide value even on this channel because I'm going to be pushing the envelope once again, being like, all right, let's make a dent in this shit. What is it going to really take to make the needle move? Let's push this properly, right? That's that statement. So that's the decision I made, and I think until I have given this properly, I don't think I'm going to be good with myself moving forward and letting this go with this model. Because as of right now, if you ask me, I don't think I've been completely truthful with it. I've been kind of just playing with it, kind of trying to survive, kind of seeing if it's going to work out, but not giving it all. Giving it all would be planning every week what are the things I got to do, the few big moves that would have the biggest impact, and then doing that shit week in, week out, consistently for a good amount of time. 6 months, 1 year. So that's what I intend to do. That's my decision. And since I was going to make that decision in this video, there it goes. Let me see. And I'm having a lot of trouble sitting here today. I don't know why I'm feeling so fidgety. What are we at? What's the time at? 38 minutes. All right, well, you know how these videos are. They're always like an hour or more. So we talked about summary of last video, YLF crypto, net worth, Becker, decision on me staying with the model, and getting a bit of basically bailed out from a hurricane. One of the most unexpected things I ever thought, but really helped us. And then now I'm making a plan for the winter, which is basically, it's going to be basically, I'm going to be going back to our current client base and asking for referrals, pretty much, right? Referrals that we're going to get some buffer coming in, just enough. One second, let me, my computer is normally on a board, but it's like it keeps on falling back. Okay, it's fixed now. All right, let's balance it here. The plan that I have is basically do the math on like, okay, how much do we need just to pay the bills for the business? and it's pretty expensive right now. It's we have expenses of 55K last month. Um, so it's pretty tough. But the problem is that you can't even cut expenses too much, because then if you don't do the work, 8 months later, you might never get the return. The client might not actually rank and beat the contractors in that city. In that case, you just let time pass and you're not gonna get the money that you're supposed to, or like it's just gonna be a mess. So we are actually investing everything we got to for the clients to get them the best return. And the plan in the winter, when things are gonna generally slow down, it can go down by half, which would basically bankrupt us. Like if that happens, then we have like no money in the bank to do survive. So the plan that I have is to go to all our current client base and get some referrals and see if those referrals can pay in the old model, right? And this really annoys me because like when I wanted to do this model, I wanted to fully do this model, but now that I have to also hedge a little bit, it just like kind of messes with my mind. But that's why I want to do it just to break even, right? Like my expenses are around like 8K per month. That's my expenses, and the business is around like 55, 60K per month. So it's like, okay, what we got to do to bring in 8 times 60K, 68, 70K in revenue for the months of January, December, maybe even February, stuff like that, right? And if I just have that plan to just meet that, then everything else should be spent on just like, the clients that are on the PPL model. And that at least doesn't completely break the frame of fully being a PPL model. It's like only getting some clients so the PPL model can run. So that's the position, current finances and everything like that. And it's not, it's not great, but no reason to wallow in it too much, because I literally just made a decision right here as I'm mentioning to you that we're going to be keeping it going for another year. So with that being said, let's move on to I guess the last part would be where we're at overall with everything. How does investing, business, life, everything fall into place now we're at the end of 2024? Here's how I would state this. This election is the most single biggest event for you and I in our lifetime. I know how that sounds. I sound probably just like one of those people that I used to point at when I was newer to America. But this is not the same as before where things didn't matter. And I don't think people really understand how much is at stake here. So let me break it down for somebody who's an outsider. I'm not from America. I came here and then became a passport holder. And in many ways, I still consider myself an outsider. I mean, I am an outsider, but like how do I put this? Obviously, if you talk about a typical American, I'm not that. But what I mean by that is I sometimes, in a weird way, look at the entire package of me doing my little things in my room, working, and I look at the entire experience as a phase. I know it's going to sound weird, but I feel like my equilibrium in the grand scheme is actually a young kid when he's 16 walking around somewhere in Asia with a few close friends and some good music. I'll bring this back, I promise. Going from there to go through the experience that I've went through. As I'm getting older, there's certain things I subscribe to and get aroused by that when I really intuitively think on those days, particular times where I just like question this entire thing, I'm like, really? Man, is this all life is? Like, it's not that. This is what real life is. Not that real. Like, compared to that basis point when I was 16 walking around, right? It's like, in that lens, this difference is huge. Like I'm basically I cannot really explain it in words. I'm trying really, really hard, but even when I question the entire thing, it's still, this election has still weight, which generally most things falls in comparison. Like even things like my business. I work in that thing. I mean, it's most of my waking time, right? For a lot of periods of time. And in 2025, it's going to be most of my waking time in that thing and like mentally just thinking about all that stuff. And even that thing, the business, doesn't hold much weight when I compare it in those two spectrums that I talked about, the 16-year-old Shib. But this election does. So you might be thinking like, what are you thinking this election is really going to do for you that you think is such a big event? So now that I made that case, let's get into it. People are making all these cases to vote for Trump, right? I'm not going to make a video about why you should vote for Trump. If you're watching this shit and you are in favor of Kamala, like, I mean, I only get 3 people to watch, and I know you 3 are not idiots. So there's no point for me to explain why Trump should be the winner, blah, blah, blah. That's fucking given. All these normal reasons are normal. It's all sane. It's all normal shit, you know? We want to cut down on government spending. Clearly, obviously, we can feel how inflation is. When I came here, I used to pay $250 for rent. I was splitting one room in an apartment with 3 people. That was 20 Union. Before that, I was in a house with 8 people or families. Some of them had kids. Anyways, the rent was the same though. It's $250 in that first house. It was $250 in 20 Union. That was another place. But basically, these are places that I've lived. And right now, I'm at $8K. Now, that's not all inflation. Obviously, I understand that because I was very I went from sharing one room and my girlfriend paying $250, I paying $250. Sometimes I would have to borrow from her to pay my side, blah, 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 shit like that, to then having, in Arizona, a house and that is like $3K and then, blah, 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 whatever, right? So there's a big difference. This is bigger place than what I was staying in back in, like a whatever called shoebox or whatever the term is in north of New York. But I think ideally, my living expenses, if it was like at that time, like let's say a decade ago, it would have been probably like around 2 to 3K, right? Whereas right now it's like 8K, right? So it's more than double. So I can get into all this stuff, but put all that shit aside. Put all of that completely to the side. There's only one thing that matters. Mr. Donald J. Trump has one man behind him, and he's the one and only that there is of this kind. And sometimes he gets classified as a tech leader or whatever you want to call it, right? Like as if he's like a Mark Zuckerberg or like CEO of Google or something. But when you take a moment and look into just track record, speaking facts, Elon Musk is singular. Period. Like it's evidence that even Jesus came back, people would not believe it. They would not take him seriously. I don't want to get into religion, but man, I mean, the guy just does the impossible as a daily routine. Like, what else you want to say? And the fact that we have this guy involved in this fucking efficiency mechanism, and people, and there are I see the polls, and for Polymarket and stuff, like, this is more accurate, that now Kamala has dropped to in the 30% ish, and Trump's like in the 60%. I'm like, what kind of moron is even questioning this shit? I don't give a shit about anything else. If this guy is remotely, even as a consultant, he's actually actively going to be involved. But even if he was like, I will be, taking a phone call once a month, it's not, dude, there's no contest that this is you're going to be voting for Trump. Like, I don't, like, how else do you want to say it? Like, guys, like, I'm healthier than before. My health is nowhere near a normal person, right? Like, if I was going to play basketball, I can't even run. I can walk now. I can even bench press now. I'm bench pressing 10 pounds, so I'm making progress, but I can walk anytime I want. I'm healthy enough. I don't even have to think about it nowadays. Anytime I want to go for a walk, I can go for a walk. But I can't really run. And with that health, if I was to go play basketball, let's say on a like a one on like 2v2, whatever, however it works, right? 2v2. But my partner is Michael Jordan. You think I'll be scared? Any park in fucking around me, I could walk blindfolded. Literally, I think blindfolded. Like, I just need to hear where he says, like, hear where his voice is. And I don't, like, I would, like, if I start with the ball, I would just have to get the ball in his direction. I don't even have to make a good pass. I could just send it to his direction and he will catch it. He will make it happen. He will take the reins from there and it's over. Right? Like, if I was walking in a dark alley and I'm kind of scared, but I'm walking with Batman next to me, I wouldn't be scared. So you like there's no more analogies I can give than that. That is it. That is it's no contest. So where would things go if Trump gets elected? This is where predictions come in. Normally I give predictions for the last couple of years in crypto. Now let's do some predictions about life. Guys, I go to Neuralink website at least once or twice a month just to see what's going on. When is the day that I'm going to be able to fix my brain? And to know that there's engineers, teams, people, smartest people out in the world looking to create services and products for real change. Scientific and technological change is the only real change. Fight me. That is the only thing that matters, right? If you are dying, how to be not dying would be a good thing. If you don't have food and there's technology that brings low-cost quality food, which doesn't exist for everybody, that would be real change. If you don't have a place that is safe to call home, but you're able to get into a world of abundance where everybody can get basic needs taken care of, that would be change. These things are done by scientists and technology. Period. There's no other sector. It's not like they add to it. That is the main sector that does it. So to know and see it real life, that there's companies that are working on cures like Neuralink, and then they speed to their next milestone only to then wait fucking 1 year, 2 years for imbeciles, like retarded level dumbasses in somewhere in Washington, D.C., getting around to signing off their bullshit just so that team can get back to work on it, irritates me to say the least. And it makes me wonder, it's
it's that saying, like a lion in a cage. I think Cat Williams made a joke about it, right? Like they put down a lion because it like snatched a child or something like that and killed a whatever, something long time ago joke, but it just popped in my head. Like he's like, man, you're punishing the lion for people, fucking with it, putting sticks, and then one of them got caught like once in 10 years. If I was a lion and I'm like not getting the proper treatment, and I'm not in the wild and not being able to do what a lion does, the only thing I would be thinking about all those 10 years is like, man, if there was ever a time that somebody would come in and give me within my reach, they would find out what I'm really capable of. Then that they came and then that person got struck and fucking died, right? That was the whole thing. That was the whole joke. But the point is, if there was ever a time that we get to see the true fucking power of these entrepreneurs that are already saving the world as it is with fucking chains, like they are swimming and there's a chain and there's an anchor sinking them to the fucking bottom of the ocean. They're doing this shit constantly to them. What would it look like if that anchor was removed? I don't think people fucking realize that world that we'd be heading towards, the speed that things would evolve. Bro, well, first of all, for me, of course, I'm biased with some things because I have a few more benefits in this world than the average person. But most of it is for all of us. Right? We talk about WAGMI in crypto. Dude, this is the motherfucking real WAGMI. We are all gonna make it if this fucking guy wins. Because when they remove these regulations, Neuralink is gonna be fast. I'm gonna get the fucking treatment. I'm gonna be back fully. I can fix my brain, like not just like, hey, I can go for a walk. I can like snort cocaine back. Obviously, I'm never gonna return to drugs, but I'm gonna be fixed completely. I'm gonna have a full functioning body, and that's just the least, right? That's just me. I'm talking about my bias. Let's talk about what else. By 2030, right? This is 2024. 5-6 years from now, we're gonna be walking into your house, and there's gonna be somebody who greets you. Robot that can cook your meals. If you have animals, it can walk your dogs. Basically everything another person can do if you have some full-time person. It's going to be at your house, like doing it for you, right? Homes, solar, electricity's gone. It's going to be like fucking $1 per kilowatt. It's done, bro. It's energy is going to be like, you're not going to have bills of like electricity and stuff like that. It's going to be fucking almost nothing, right? Cars are already driving itself. So it's like the most cliche point. So I'm not gonna even get like the cliche stuff, right? This cliche stuff is already done and they're already doing this shit with the anchors. Everything's gonna be taken care of on that base level. That's just in the next couple of years. Now, here's where it gets crazy. I was saying a little bit ago that as I get older, there's certain things I subscribe to that get me aroused. Because I'm like, hey, I don't want any TV shows. I'm not a sports fan. I gotta get worked up about something. So I get worked up about a few things, right? Like, oh my God, this guy said this, whatever, or crypto, or they're doing this, and or like politics, and oh my God, etc., etc. Like, I do, like, I'm like kind of, it's kind of insane. And now I see why older people are like that, because they get into like worked up about this stuff. I'm doing it myself. Of course, I have my reasoning, but somebody who's like probably 20 would look at me and be like, what the hell? This guy's like really like betting on this like election thing. Where I was heading with that is that there's so many things we say and we fight about in today's world, right? Oh, the LGBTQ, whatever the words are, gay, lesbian, fighting, the Black Lives Matter and all this stuff. Guys, I will tell you right now, when talking about unfairness and true slavery,
The thing that I'm about to point out is the ultimate slavery. Nothing else in the history of the world even comes close. I sometimes look at these things people fight about, and I get myself drawn in. I want to. I like almost like, share or like that shit. So I'm like, yeah, cool. And I know the algorithm's gonna give me more of that shit. I'm like, all right, let me just like drink my own Kool-Aid. But that shit is just a child's play compared to the form of slavery I'm about to tell you right now. This is a form of slavery that you are literally living in. It's the literal lens you see the world through, and there's no escape from it. And that is called your body. This vehicle right here that we're all stuck in, right? You can't get out of it. I can move my arms and stuff. I can't shake out of it. There's like the form of consciousness within it, it's fucking trapped. And this thing starts to break down, and you start to get weaker and you start to die, but there's no escape. Now, anybody who's walking, out of these three people, maybe one of them are like, 20s, you obviously don't care because most people are healthy, right? But I'm going to tell you how this affects actually everybody. We're at a point right now where things are about to emerge. I think the word is converge, right? Like the last, 20, 30 years, you could summarize that things became more digital. And that was a lot of things, right? It's not like we see it lightly because we're like used to it by now. We take it for granted, right? Like doing this video right now is kind of insane, right? Taking a picture there's so much cost of development of the film and all that stuff that all got erased. Now you have too much pictures. You can go and take too many, and now you have too many options. Which one should you pick for your whatever Instagram? These are all the digital world. That shit, that same level is about to come in the physical world. We're like, this is not like, oh my God, this is 20 years away. This is in the next couple of years, right? Central intelligence is going to be far exceeding human. It's already human level right now. It's going to be far exceeding human. And just like with memory, it used to cost some huge amount of money to save 10 megabytes 20, 30 years ago. Now you can buy a fucking USB with $20 that has hundreds of GB. See, it didn't stop. Let's say humans were 10 megabytes. It didn't just stop at 10 or then go to 100 megabytes or then go to 1,000 megabytes. It went to thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands beyond. So that's about to happen with intelligence. And then it's going to converge at the same time it's happening with reality. Because most of the thing right now that we see is pretty much stuck in digital still, right? It's like, hey, look how cool ChatGPT is. I say this, it says this back. Oh my God, look, I said this, it made this image. And we're used to it. But what happens when that intelligence has limbs, arms, robots is going to be a big part of it. Cars, humanoids. We're about to enter a time when you're going to be talking more to your robot that lives with you than anybody else. We're about to enter a time where your wife will be jealous because you're spending more time with it than her. This is going to be a thing. They're going to look to censor that thing or have it you can only use it for certain times. Just like they probably do with an entrepreneur when they're at work. I'm just giving an analogy here, right? They're like, you're always at work. You said you're going to be coming at dinner at this time. That's going to happen with robots now. Surgery is going to be all done with robots. A human being can do one person, and even a good person can maybe do 100 a year. And we call that as an expert surgeon. But the robot can do that surgery 100 times per year per that area times all the other area in the world, and then get all the lessons from all those millions of surgeries of that exact type, of all the anomalies that surgery they come in, doing a surgery on the head. Some are lopsided, some are this, some have bone structures like that, like this, as all of that. And that's just machine learning. That's not even counting the simulation. That's not even fucking counting all the ways it can imagine by itself and then do surgeries on itself, infinitely getting better than a human being. What does that mean? What does that fucking look like? We're going to rapidly, from these reductions that's going to be made if things go well and they don't fucking kill this fucker. I don't give a shit. I don't care. Like Trump, whatever, I don't care. Elon is going to be the person who is going to accelerate and catapult this movement. There's so many people suffering with chronic diseases. This shit's going to be solved as soon as we start hitting that conversion starts to happen, right? And super intelligence starts to set in, and they have humanoids, and the machine's intelligence is not just stuck in some fucking text to say back to some random shit we made, but it's in the real world. It's part of the economy, because it's much more efficient to get a robot to do basically everything there is that's being done. Answer your phones, make the houses, all that shit. Some of it will take a little bit longer than others, but we're not talking about fucking 100 years now. We're talking about 5 years, guys. We're talking about one term. It's just going to take one term. This election from 2024 to 2028 is going to lay the goddamn foundation. Because Elon gets in. He's not gonna. What do you think? Like this guy. Look at the recent thing as Nvidia, like $1 trillion company, one of the most valuable companies in the world. The CEO is baffled at this guy's speed. He said the other company that they did this with, like whatever the thing they set up with this, AI rigs or whatever, it took the other company, and the companies that are doing this are the most powerful companies in the world. It took them 3 years to do the setup and 1 year to do actually connect it all together to go live with it. Elon did that in fucking 19 days. You think he's gonna fucking stop at some dumbass like metric that the government holds? He's gonna take this shit all the way. We're gonna get mass health, mass abundance. It's gonna be an age like we talk about in the dawn of times. In the near future. Like, I don't think people realize, like, soon after this, like, this is one term. This is by 2030s. In the 2030s, right? Like after this term, 2035, within the decade of the 2030s, I feel like there's a good chance that we become immortal. Now, I know this is going to sound very fucking weird, especially this last statement, but let's call this phase 2, right? I'm not saying this in the next 5 years. But these technology entrepreneurs and technology itself has a way of far exceeding what is the current benchmark. You see, currently the benchmark is, hey, I'm sick. I come to a doctor. I'm looking for something. If a doctor gives a medicine, I feel a little better. I feel like it's a good doctor. That's the current shit. But you think the current doctor knows anything to do about the actual tech behind it? No, they don't. They're just an extension. It's like the Toyota dealership you go to, right? When you go to the dealership, do they know how to build the car? No. The guy fucking sitting behind the counter, does he know how to fucking build a car? No. He's a sales rep. And I'm not shitting on him. I'm a sales rep. I'm just saying he does not know how to build a car. But the person behind that we talk to, is the intelligence of that person is no more than sometimes you and I, who just would maybe go through some lectures right? Some fucking courses they took in their fucking university of becoming a doctor. And then they shove that up your ass, right? And now, like, I'm getting a little bit more into the health side, but I'm just saying, like, they don't know any better. That's like the limitation. I'm using health as a benchmark, but look at everything in the sector around us. You can see that as like a benchmark. They're trying. They're not malicious people. They're trying, right? They want you to be good. You paid them, whatever. They're trying, like, hey, I think this is wrong, that is wrong. But it's such a limited fucking understanding. It's one guy did a few things, didn't even work most of the time. And if he never even seen a case like yourself, it is like your chance of getting any kind of thing to fix this broken system in the first place is almost none. And to take that, it puts the frame of our expectation that I just want to feel a little better. But just like it did with every other sector, right? It didn't just like, Google didn't come in and just be like, all right, you can look at a map and now instead of folding your hand out, you can have a digital screen that you don't have to fold your hand energy and you can just look at a map like this. No, it fucking like did all the search, all the information you want to have in the world and categorized it in one fucking little text box. It dramatically, by hundreds of thousands of fold, increased the efficiency. What the fuck does that world look like when it happens in the real life, in the body and the flesh? It is not just going to stop at, oh, I'm now somebody who is a little broken and my body doesn't work and now I get to jog. No, man, it's going to look like the next fucking phase. And we are at the cusp of it. There is no better reason to be alive right now. It's almost like if you're in the stock market, it's like you're buying an option. It's like you're buying an option, but the option is, dude, just hang in there. Just don't die, right? Don't get on motorbikes, wear a helmet, like just be careful. Don't go outside the house, bro. Just hang in there. Let this guy come into office. Let this Elon step in. Because once he sets this catalyst forward in the 2030s, man, these days are done. It's over. And if you're watching this and I sound fucking crazy, I sound like a little bit deranged. One, I haven't been sleeping that much well, but two, if I sound deranged, let me give you an example. And this is a big picture thing. Written history is 5,000 years old, right? From the time people carve shit on stone to leave some kind of communication behind, whatever, it's like 5,000 years old, right? The planet has been around for billions of years. And it produced this body over that period of time. Now, we call it magnificent, we call it eternal, we call it like something else because we still don't understand it. And there is magnificence to it, right? I'm not downplaying it, but I'm saying, man, the iteration speed that it's going to come into play when you do things the right way, like it happens when a car breaks down to increase the efficiency, like how it went from horses to cars, when you take that same level and apply it, it doesn't just look like a normal functioning person. The entire fragment of reality is going to shift. If you ask yourself, that this is 5,000 years only, which is a blip. It's not even, those analogies where they so like, if it was, the world has been around for like, a day, then we're not even 1 second, it's not just about that time frame, but I'm saying civilization as we know it has been only around for 5,000 years. For a moment, if you take just take it, like close your eyes with me. Like close your eyes and just imagine. What do you think civilization looks like in year 1 million? Just think about it. Whatever comes to mind. Now, hold that thought and add this. You really think in that time frame, we're going to be looking like this with this fucking body? Of course not. There's no fucking way. Either we never get there or we're not in this body. There's no other possible situation. It's impossible. It's impossible. There's no way this body's going to carry us through that kind of time frame. We're going to have to evolve. And the time to fucking evolve is here. we're in this time, and it's in the next 5 years. It's going to lay the foundation, and in the 2030s, it's going to be the first time we're going to see this evolvement. We're going to start to get, and it'll first happen with small things like fixing injuries and stuff like that, and Neuralink, etc. But then it's going to be augmented. Like a few things are going to come, probably like early stage. I would say like people can run way faster, like car speed if they want, sometime in the 2030s. Even if they're not doing it, the technology will be available. And I'm sure it's going to come with some societal shit like every time it does. There's going to be a new group again. Oh, we are against the people who are half robots. Join if you follow me, the people with half robot. Like, by that time, we're going to be so ahead, we're just going to caress them and cuddle them. Like we don't go out and kill and hunt down all the fucking chimpanzees in the zoo. They can stay in their own corner. But the people who want to evolve, they're in the ride for the future. They're going to be they're going to be able to do it full-fledged without some fucking system hindering them. All forms of slavery is about to end. This is it. We're about to enter the golden stage. Body slavery, we're going to transcend beyond this part. And if you really ask me, I think this is my timeline for immortality. And I'm going to define immortality because I know that like I was breaking this down to my mom the other day. Because she was just worried about like economy and stuff, and I was like giving context from my view and the other parts that are coming that is on the positive side, and I probably went a little bit over too board because she, like, after I went on my rant, she had to stop and basically make me say a surah, which is reciting something from the Quran. I was raised Muslim, so it can basically calm me and bring me back to the faith of God again, because she felt a little bit afraid that I'm like way too like. And if you get that feeling right now, let me tell you this. Within 2030s, we are changing the definition of a human being. It's no longer going to be just this fleshy shit. It's going to be, we're a cyborg now, truly a proper cyborg. Our way of how we communicate in the world, how we go through, how we take in information, it's going to be completely different. Like it's not just like, right now they say like, we're like a cyborg a little bit because we have so much tech and phone, but you got to search stuff. No, I'm talking about like the collective intelligence of all the information that's been in the world. It's going to be applied and accessible to you in an instance, right? In your head. See, Google has all the information in the world, but you don't know it right now at this moment. It would be very, very different if you could be internally accessible in the moment. This shit is going to happen. We're no longer going to be actually human. The part of us that's human in percentage, let's just call it a weight because we like to measure in something that we can measure, right? I think literally in weight, it'll start to go down. See, right now I'm all human. Bah, bah, bah. Soon, and I think in this election, I'm going to be not all human. Just in the next 4 years, man. I'm going to be probably 99% human, 98% human, but 2%, whatever the weight is on the chip to fix my injuries for now, just the injuries right now. But in the 2030s, injuries get fixed, regulation gets down, the speed is going to be fucking enormous, right? You're going to be able to get upgrades that is unfathomable right now, right? This is next 10 years. By the time I'm 40, I think I would be less than 10%. More than 10% of me is going to be non-human. And I think this should be a benchmark. Like how percentage of human we are is a benchmark for our progress in true freedom. Motherfucking true freedom. You know what true freedom would look like? True freedom would look like I would go to a desert and launch myself with a canyon into the sky. Because I already saved myself. I already hit save before I left the house. So when that body collapses, my consciousness is in another next body. I have different units stacked up. I got 2 phones right now, but I got only 1 body. That is true freedom. True freedom is you can ride a motorcycle with no fear, like absolutely no fear, like when you were 16. And you can fucking crash and it is all good. because you are already safe. That would be ultimate true freedom. And how far are we from that? So far. So far. I can't go outside. I can go for a walk, but I can't go without a phone because what if something happens? What if it's a little bit harder than I thought and halfway through I have to sit down? What if I have to sit down then I can't breathe? I gotta call an Uber. I gotta take my phone. There's so many limitations and I'm using myself as a thing, but put your own life to it. And if you really sit down and think, the ultimate form of slavery is this is it. We're confined to this. Finances, stuff like this is all going to be taken care of. This is like pretty like this thing comes through. It's like, welcome to planet Earth. You have been born a human. And this is the greatest lottery you can win. You can get the best car. You get the best place to live. You get the best intelligence out there. You can get the robot that's going to take and cook and take care of everything. This is just basic. Just like you get sidewalks. Like, if you're homeless right now in America, you get a sidewalk. Like before, you might have been like you're a fucking horse and you don't know where to go and you're gonna die in the desert. You don't die in the desert. You have a sidewalk. You can go to a bus stop and see a map. These are basic infrastructure. In 2030, the basic infrastructure is gonna be like what I just said. Robots, everything. You get the best phone, computer, all the goods and services you can imagine. Goods and services, the products we treasure right now and think we want, and we want this and that. All that stuff is gonna be base. Just for you being a human. Just for being born a human. This is the future we should fight for. A litmus test I realized for this is if I haven't paid my taxes in a while. I'm so overdue on taxes, and this year I'm actually having to pay probably no taxes. I talked to my tax guy, and I'm gonna be like, the year has to end and stuff like that. But we have no profit basically, right? So it's gonna be the first time where I think it's gonna be what they call a wash. So I joke a little bit for oh, you pay taxes, I don't have that problem, I make you actually have a profit from your business. I do this for fun, passion. It's like a stupid joke. The reason I'm bringing this joke up right now is a litmus test is, what does the future have to look like where you want to pay taxes? In the end, we are a fucking community-driven thing. We want to be part of the whole. But it's been a norm for the individuals to fight against the whole. I don't want to fucking pay taxes. I don't see any correlation to me giving my hard-earned money into this system that it's going to make the system better. For all I know, I don't see any dent in it. All I hear of the evidence is all the money that they're sending outwards and all this other stuff. The inefficiency in this is clearly insane, because if you look at I don't understand politics and I don't know how to fucking fix a US budget, of course, but if you just look at those charts they show, regardless of what case they're trying to make, and just look at it and translate it like a human, like as if it's like a person. Just take those trillions of dollars and make it like a person. It makes it a lot simpler. Oh, okay. If I was making $10,000 but I'm spending $15,000, that's not good. And in so much money there is, how much motherfucking inefficiency there has to be for we to still be stuck in this goddamn way of environment where people can't get the healthcare they need. People it's just so much shittier than it needs to be. In this future though, just like the future I created, a lot of people would agree that I want to pay my fair share on this. I feel like I should pay my fair share. I am happy to pay my fair share because I can see exactly where the money's going. Not only is there transparency, but the money's going to things, more importantly, to actually make a difference. Hey, you don't like XYZ about your place? You don't like the finance sucks? Hey, the inflation's bad, cost of living sucks, the opportunity's not there, whatever it is like that. But the healthcare sucks, the body sucks, whatever. Then you'd feel guilty if you don't put money towards it because you can exactly see how efficient the system is putting that money to use. It can really be for lack of better terms, I guess, a country that in the real terms, right? Like if you look at the values that this country was built on, those things can actually come to fruition, which it hasn't ever. And no country has done it, right? No country is perfect. And US is the best one, in my opinion, out of all the imperfections, especially for capitalism. I'm not talking about happiness and having a good life. I'm talking about capitalism. But with this shift, it's going to really head to the age of abundance and become a system where you will be happy to pay taxes. Like, you'll actually look forward to it, which sounds kind of insane right now if you think about it. It's like, no, normally I'm legally trying to not pay as much as possible. Like, I'm literally having somebody else who I pay so they can do a good job so I don't pay. Like, I want to pay as little as possible. That's the reason I pay that guy. But what is it going to take for you to shift to a place where you want to pay fair share? It's because you can see, because the future is so damn bright. So, man, we just gotta hang on. Hopefully, fingers crossed, they don't do something else. They don't kill this guy. Let a true leader for once be remotely involved with this system. And we're about to enter the golden stage. And honestly, when I think about this, even things like my business, like I was saying, falls in comparison. Now that I painted it, you can see. Because in that kind of world, the business I'm doing is to get by, to make money, to have purpose. It has a bunch of things, but mainly to make money, right? That's why small businesses are there. They're not like, I'm working with a few roofers. I know I'm not fucking changing the world and building electric cars and, like changing the entire way people live their lives. But I got my little client base, 40, 50 people. I'm trying to make a little difference to them. That's all I got. And in that world, though, that's all probably taken care of. The machine, the robot, the programs can have the efficiency needed to take care of all that. And people they think this is like some kind of like, oh yeah, but then what's going to happen to jobs? What fucking jobs? What are you guys talking about? What jobs? There's going to be so much abundance that you don't even need to work. There's no work in the 2030s. If Trump wins, this is done. There's no normal work, guys. That's like fucking easy prediction. There's no normal work of this kind where, hey, most of your waking life, you're gonna get up and do the shit that you don't want to do. This is most people's lives, right? Especially when they have a normal job. Business owners, a lot of them, have more freedom. But let's say, without getting into the entrepreneurship versus people, because in the long term, honestly, I don't see that much difference anyways. It's just like different like values we attach to it because we want to ascribe value to our pain and suffering, really. But in its essence, can a machine do better than you at checking out fucking groceries? Of course. It can do better in pretty much almost actually, to be honest, it can do better in everything, period. There's nothing you as a human being can do better than a machine. People just don't want to say that statement because they feel like they're attacking people. Well, but people will always have, their human connection. Yes, fucking connection is a different thing, motherfucker. We're not talking about you sitting down and having a cup of tea with your friend. We're talking about day to day. Do you need to go to the fucking office to answer some phones for somebody's game is not working and you're gonna have to troubleshoot it? No. They can fucking fix that shit. All of this shit is gonna go away. There's no jobs in the normal way. And that world, and when these people come, they're like, yeah, but people are still going to be in power and they're going to take advantage of us. Yo, when something's in fucking truly abundant, nobody takes advantage of you. It's just been clear already in history. It's people who control because the power makes a difference. What's really important right now for me, I'm sitting in this room. I just breathe. Oxygen is very important. It's fucking important. If you take the oxygen away, I'm gonna die in a bit here. Do you see the rich people bottling up the oxygen into like water bottles and saving it? No, why? Why aren't they doing that? Why aren't the rich people doing that? They want to control you, right? Why aren't they doing that? Because it's fucking abundant. It's everywhere. We're literally living inside it. It is so abundant that there's no reason to do it. That's what's gonna happen to basic goods and services. Your computer, your food, your phone bill, all of this shit is going to be so goddamn efficient that the cost of getting it is like basically zero. Right now, to assemble a phone, it's like there's like metal and like uranium and shit and technology, and then the mental IP and intellectual property that went into organizing all together. There's so much. But when the mental IP and the intelligence is done through AGI, and then the systems for the robots that can go mine the items to bring it back is all done with automation at scale, maximized, it is truly abundant. We just live in a world where, welcome to be in planet Earth. You have gotten the ultimate lottery in Galaxy One. You are welcome. Enjoy. That is a future worth fighting for.